In this video, I want to cover why I took my T2 product off the market, what happened with homobrassinolide through my sublingual homobrassinolide cycle, was I successful in creating a viable sublingual berberine product, and acetyl L-carnitine. So kind of a quick check-in with each different substance that I've been working with. So we'll start with the T2. So I'd made a product that was 3,5-T2, which is supposed to be the effective one for fat burning, where there's kind of no upper limit to causing problems like there would be with T3, T4, that sort of thing. And of course, it's an over-the-counter nutritional supplement. So my solution was to complex it as per usual, make an extremely powerful version of it, and just see what would happen for fat loss. All I ended up seeing from it in the long run was a little bit of glucose disposal or a little bit of glucose management, and not nearly as powerful as what you'd see from metformin or berberine or something like that. The feedback that I got from the couple of guys that tried it said basically the same thing. So for me, that's not, even if it works on paper and it's just not working in real life, so I pulled it. If you still want it, I may be able to whip up a batch for you if you want to try it, if just for experimental purposes, but I can't imagine why you would if I don't know. But, you know, I'm open to, you know, custom orders. If it's, as long as it's legal, I'll try to see if I can help you out. Next up, homobrassinolide. Kind of the same story with this, in all honesty. I don't mean to give away the ending, but spoilers, I'm no longer using it. I was really excited about it at first. I think what I was seeing was fairly typical bulking growth. Because the rebound from my fast was so good, I attributed a lot of that to the homobrassinolide. And then I started looking at the numbers and I realized that in actuality, I wasn't busting past the plateau of what I had reached previously in prior bulking sessions after fast and that sort of thing. So even with a very large, or from what I could tell was a very large dose of sublingual homobrassinolide, I was getting extra hunger, I was getting some extra drive, but the actual numbers as far as muscle mass and things like that go were not any different from any other successful bulk that I would be doing with ecdysterone. So I have to be objective. I just don't see a clear enough cut, you know, end result to continue forward with that one. Again, it's something I can get a hold of and put together for a person if they want to try it for experimental purposes, but that's my experience, and so I'm not doing a product with it. Okay, now berberine. Now the berberine was a pleasant surprise. I had used oral berberine in the past, and I never saw much from it. I have used metformin prior to a contest and post, you know, just managing rebound and glucose disposal and things like that. And it could be helpful for like getting into ketosis if you're heading that way, trying to do a fast or a keto diet and trying to get into ketosis quickly. So, but this time with the sublingual version, and I basically have to do a 2-to-1 to make it viable sublingually. If you do straight berberine and you do some kind of sublingual preparation, man, it's gonna turn your teeth yellow. So it's very colorful stuff. So, but when you mix it with the sublingual ecdy, what I found was that doesn't happen. If you know, really have it swished in your mouth for a long time and it's on your tongue, you'll have some, you know, just like if you're chewing a piece of colored gum or something, but it goes away. If that's something you're concerned about, heads up, that can happen, but you don't have dyed teeth or anything crazy. You just have a little color on your tongue like you would if you were chewing some kind of weird gum, right? So it was a very powerful product. That's what surprised me. I never believed much in the, I believed it, but I thought it would be counteracted with like my hormone replacement, the suppression of IGF-1 and, you know, the growth pathway and MTOR and things like that. So, but I was really seeing like just a flat stagnation on that berberine, just like I would see with heavy metformin doses. So it was very effective, but just not great for bulking. So it was nice to, like, okay, so say I spill over, I'm bulking, and I'm just way too fluffy, and my belly's starting, you know, signs of insulin insulin resistance. Just going too hard with the carbs, that sort of thing. When I was testing that berberine, taking it 3 or 4 times a day, I had to eat 500 or 600 grams of carbs just to not like as flat as a pancake. So that's crazy to me. So normally I might eat 400, 450 grams of carbs tops, but I had to pack in the carbs. If I ate 400, 450 grams of carbs, I would get up the next day and I would just look shrunken. Yeah, so not for bulking for me. I don't think I lost any actual muscle using it. I definitely lost fat using it. That was pretty cool. I lost about a ½ inch off my waist, and I don't mean just like water loss. I'm talking after the fact. So while I was bulking, packing in all the carbs I could get most days, few days falling a little shy, but trying hard. I mean, we're talking 4,000 or 5,000 plus calories a lot of days. Very, very rarely would I go below 4,000 calories, and I actually lost fat. So, hey, that's pretty cool if that's what you're looking for. Me, I'm trying to put on some halfway quality size before I strip down again for a Masters Classic competition again. So I think I'm already up about 10 pounds of muscle, actual muscle, lean muscle, over where I was a year and a half ago. So that's good. But still going for that goal. So I'm holding off on fasting, dieting, and stuff, and going to go ahead and be, bear mode for a little bit. Acetyl L-carnitine, that's the other one. So I made a mix of, and I'll tell you why I did it. Injected acetyl L-carnitine is very, very powerful. The guys that like to fool around with that sort of thing have told me they can eat whatever they want. They shred fat, and not like crazy drugs, but like for a supplement, for something that's, used correctly, we're talking serious positive changes. It's a pretty good supplement if you're talking injectable. Now, oral L-carnitine will metabolize, more so for some people than others, but it will metabolize into something called TMOA, which is something that I believe it damages our mitochondria. It can cause some heart stress issues and fibrosis and things, unless I'm kind of mixing up some of the issues from that. But, and again, let's be honest, this is a little new for me, so I'm not trying to put on airs here. But this is the concern that people have with taking L-carnitine. So I did a deep dive, and I'm saying a deep dive, and that's why I'm still processing the information. But from what I could understand, through the studies where people would have that from L-carnitine, some people, put my tits away, some people would have a way stronger amount of that TMOA than others from the same dose of L-carnitine. And what they found was it was the gut microbiome. Now, here's the cool part. You know what the cure for that is? You know what kills off that particular gut microbiome, those 2 or 3 kinds that cause that? Berberine. So even if you're doing a sublingual and you're swallowing the excess, you're still having that go through your system, and I would think that there would be enough. Or if there's not, take an oral dose of berberine. But so I made a product that had all 3. The ecti is a nice base, opens up the blood vessels. The berberine, it does its thing. And then the acetyl L-carnitine, any issues that we might have had from that. And here's why I'm not worried about this TMOA from acetyl L-carnitine. Number one, the studies that were done were with L-carnitine. Now think about how things metabolize. L-carnitine will metabolize into, and like I say, in some people more so, this TMOA, but some of it will metabolize into carnitine and then back, or acetyl L-carnitine and then back, and so forth and so on. When you're starting with acetyl L-carnitine, less of it will go to carnitine and then TMOA, and so you see where I'm going with this. There's just less. You have to metabolize back to carnitine, then metabolize down from there and so forth. But if you have that gut microbiome that causes that, that could be a concern. So put it with berberine. Berberine knocks out. So every dose you take, it's together. Knock it out, knock it out. Problem is, For me, I don't want berberine right now. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and take my sublingual acetyl-L-carnitine with the ecti, because it's not bad for bulking. It's not so suppressive like the berberine, and in fact, the studies show that 37%, like after 6 months of acetyl-L-carnitine treatment, they showed that there was a 37% increase in glycogen storage in the muscle tissue. Sounds good to me. And to me, that would be indicative of, I mean, we only have so much space in there, so that's either new space created, which would indicate growth and that sort of thing. See, what I'll do now is I'll have 1 day a week where I use berberine just to make sure that gut microbiome is kept in check, because I'm going to be pounding the acetyl-L-carnitine to grow. Okay? So right now I'm taking sublingual ecti under the tongue with acetyl-L-carnitine. It's all mixed together, and it does actually mix. The acetyl-L-carnitine is in mostly a glycerin base, but it is complexed. I thought I would go ahead and complex it to give it even greater, bioavailability. It seems to be the case that when it comes to sublingual products, the higher the molecular weight, that seems to be more water soluble and get through the membranes, under the tongue and then the buccal and whatever we're trying to take advantage of there for absorption. It seems to increase that the higher the molecular weight. And L-carnitine, acetyl-L-carnitine, is only 260, so on the molar mass scale there. So when you complex it in something like hydroxypropyl beta cyclodextrin, which is 12.5 to 1500, now you've got something that's got some water solubility to it to really absorb a lot better. So I put that under my tongue, hold it for a couple of minutes, swish, swallow. Once a week, or 1 day a week, 1 evening a week, whatever, I'll go ahead and have some sublingual berberine, but also maybe a little bit of oral, just to go through the gut and to have the benefits from that. There will be a product with berberine. There will be a product with both. I'm going to put all of that out there, and you can use this how you want. I have not solidified how all of that's going to look yet, and so forth and so on, but I'm pretty dang small as a company, so get them up on the website. In the meantime, if you want to reach out to me, I will set up a sale for you, and we can do it through the website with its protections from PayPal and the other credit card places and so forth and so on. Just hit me up on Instagram. It's probably the best way. Hit me up in the comments here. I'll find it, and we'll get a hold of each other. But it'll probably be about a week or two before I get everything listed. Maybe not, but knowing me, that's how long it'll take.